Full name, John Dryden. Born August 9, 1631, in Aldwinkle, Northamptonshire, England. Died May 1, 1700, in London, England.
Born into a Puritan family in the turbulent years of the English Civil War, Dryden was educated at Westminster School and Trinity College, Cambridge. He moved to London in the 1650s, quickly becoming part of the literary and intellectual circles of the time. With the restoration of Charles II to the throne in 1660, Dryden's literary career flourished, and he became a celebrated poet and playwright. In 1668, he was appointed Poet Laureate, a position he held until the Glorious Revolution in 1688, when William and Mary ascended to the throne. Although Dryden's political and religious loyalties shifted throughout his life, his work remained influential and set a standard for English literature during the Restoration period.
Major works and literary contributions. Absalom and Achitophel, 1681.
Themes, politics, betrayal, and allegory. Style, heroic couplet, satire, biblical allusion.
Absalom and Achitophel is one of Dryden's most famous political satires. Written as an allegorical poem, it uses the biblical story of Absalom's rebellion against King David to comment on contemporary political events, specifically the exclusion crisis in England. In the poem, King David represents Charles II, and Absalom, his illegitimate son, represents the Duke of Monmouth. The character Achitophel symbolizes the Earl of Shaftesbury, a prominent political figure who supported Monmouth's claim to the throne. Dryden's use of the heroic couplet in Absalom and Achitophel was masterful, establishing it as a form suited for satire and high drama. Through biting wit and vivid character sketches, Dryden examines the dangers of political ambition, rebellion, and the betrayal of loyalty. This poem not only solidified his reputation as a skilled satirist, but also as a loyal supporter of the monarchy, showcasing his adeptness at using poetry to comment on political issues of the day.
Mac Flecknoe, 1682.
Themes, literary satire, absurdity, and critique of mediocrity. Style, mock epic, heroic couplet.
Mac Flecknoe is a mock-epic poem in which Dryden attacks the playwright Thomas Shadwell, whom he considered a second-rate writer. In the poem, Dryden portrays Shadwell as the successor to Richard Flecknoe, an Irish poet known for his poor verse, humorously crowning him the king of nonsense. In this biting satire, Dryden employs mock-heroic elements to create a burlesque atmosphere, contrasting the lofty epic form with his low opinion of Shadwell's talent. The result is both humorous and scathing, using exaggerated metaphors and grandiose language to highlight the mediocrity he attributes to Shadwell. Mac Flecknoe remains one of the most celebrated examples of literary satire, displaying Dryden's skill in parody and his belief in high literary standards.
The Hind and the Panther, 1687.
Themes, religion, allegory, and tolerance. Style, narrative poem, religious allegory, heroic couplet.
The Hind and the Panther is an allegorical poem that addresses the religious tensions of Dryden's time. Written after his conversion to Catholicism in 1685, the poem presents a dialogue between two animals, the hind, symbolizing Catholicism, and the panther, symbolizing Anglicanism. Through their debate, Dryden explores themes of faith, tolerance, and doctrinal differences. This work illustrates Dryden's skill in allegorical writing and his ability to tackle complex theological issues in poetic form. It is also a testament to his courage in advocating for tolerance and understanding in a time of religious strife. Although it was criticized by some of his contemporaries, The Hind and the Panther is a sophisticated work that reflects Dryden's intellectual depth and moral conviction.
Essay of Dramatic Poesy, 1668.
Themes, literary criticism, nature of drama, and classical versus modern. Style, prose dialogue.
In his essay of dramatic poesy, Dryden defends English drama against criticisms from French classicists, particularly regarding the use of the three unities, time, place, and action. The essay is structured as a dialogue between four characters who represent different critical viewpoints, discussing topics such as the importance of realism, the role of poetry in drama, and the value of Shakespearean drama compared to classical models. This work is significant as it showcases Dryden's expertise as a critic and his balanced approach to literary evaluation. He argues in favor of dramatic diversity and creativity, championing the idea that poetry and theatre should engage the emotions as well as the intellect. His perspective laid foundational ideas for later criticism, and the essay of dramatic poesy remains a seminal work in English literary criticism.
Alexander's Feast, 1697.
Themes, music, celebration and emotion. Style, ode, lyric poetry.
Alexander's Feast, written to celebrate St. Cecilia's Day, exemplifies Dryden's mastery in lyric poetry. The poem tells the story of Alexander the Great feasting in Persia and being moved to varying emotions by the music of the bard Timotheus. Each stanza corresponds to a different musical influence, with Dryden skillfully capturing the changing emotions through rhythm and vivid imagery. This ode highlights Dryden's ability to blend music and poetry, creating an atmosphere that reflects the power of art to evoke emotions and influence behavior. Alexander's Feast stands as one of Dryden's most successful lyric works and is celebrated for its musicality, structure, and emotional impact.
Literary techniques and style. Mastery of the heroic couplet.
Dryden is credited with perfecting the heroic couplet, a rhymed iambic pentameter couplet. He used this form with great versatility, especially in his satirical works, to emphasize wit, irony, and clarity. The concise, structured nature of the heroic couplet allowed Dryden to create powerful contrasts and craft memorable lines, making it ideal for the sharp commentary in his political and literary satires.
Satire and social critique.
Dryden's use of satire was unprecedented in its boldness and precision. His satirical works often served as pointed critiques of his literary and political adversaries. By combining wit, humor, and keen observation, Dryden used satire as a tool for exposing human folly, hypocrisy, and corruption, whether in the context of politics, Absalom and Achitophel, or in literature, Macflecknoe.
Allegory and political commentary.
Dryden's political poems frequently use allegory to comment on the political and religious issues of his day. This technique allowed him to address sensitive topics in a manner that was both engaging and, at times, diplomatically veiled. Absalom and Achitophel and The Hind and the Panther exemplify his talent for weaving complex political allegories, making his work relevant to contemporary readers while avoiding direct confrontation with authority.
Use of prose for literary criticism.
In works like Essay of Dramatic Poesy, Dryden pioneered English literary criticism, introducing principles of balance, order, and decorum that would come to define neoclassical criticism. His prose style is clear, logical, and often conversational, making complex critical ideas accessible. His approach laid the groundwork for literary criticism as an art form and influenced critics and writers for generations.
Major themes in Dryden's work.
Politics and power.
Many of Dryden's works address the dynamics of power, particularly in the context of political loyalty and ambition. Through satire and allegory, Dryden explores the dangers of betrayal, manipulation, and the quest for power, often warning against the instability such ambition brings to society.
Religion and tolerance.
Dryden's work reflects the religious conflicts of the Restoration and the Glorious Revolution. His Catholic faith influenced his later works, particularly The Hind and the Panther, where he advocates for religious tolerance. This theme of religious coexistence demonstrates Dryden's commitment to peace and understanding amidst a period of division and intolerance.
Human folly and vanity.
Dryden's satire frequently exposes human vanity, especially in the context of literary and political pretension. In Mac Flecknoe, he critiques literary mediocrity, while in Absalom and Achitophel, he highlights the moral failings of political leaders. His depictions of flawed characters serve as cautionary tales about the dangers of self-deception and moral compromise.
Legacy and influence.
John Dryden's influence on English literature is profound. By perfecting the heroic couplet and pioneering English satire, he set a standard for poetic form and wit that would shape neoclassical poetry and inspire writers such as Alexander Pope and Samuel Johnson. His literary criticism laid the groundwork for an evaluative approach to literature, establishing principles of clarity, order, and decorum that defined the neoclassical period. Dryden's legacy is that of a literary innovator who skillfully balanced poetry, drama, and criticism. His works remain a valuable record of the Restoration era's complex social, political, and religious landscape, and his contributions to English literature continue to resonate, marking him as a central figure in the development of modern literary standards and satirical expression.